Sam Woods.
Thank you very much for a bit of a soft. I am a big softie, but yeah, the surfing story was probably blown out of proportion a little bit, but there's some elements of truth in that. I perhaps embellished my application a little bit, but that's okay. It's all panned out really well. So I guess most of you or some of you would know who I am. Hopefully, as much from the fact that I've been a small business owner in Bayside for over 10 years as much as on a TV show. So it's really, really nice to come to these things and see so many neighbours. And I've got a little girl who's 13 who's just started high school, and a little baby who's 7 months old and just started teething. So things are, full on at home. But I'm really here today, I guess, to wish you all a very happy Mother's Day, and to talk about, I guess, the thing that I work a lot with mums, predominantly through my online fitness program. So I own the Woodshed, which is up there on the Pean Highway, and we do personal training and small group training. I've actually been a personal trainer in that building for 17 years, as I first started as a very skinny kid from Tasmania, when it was Harper's Personal Training. Most of you or some of you would remember way back when it was Harper's Personal Training. So I walked in there and worked there for 6 years. I then, funnily enough, the whole mums, kids thing kind of found me rather than me finding it. I loved personal training. I loved working with people. And in a sort of weird, one of those, twists of fate, that I think it was just the thing that I was meant to do, working with families, I started to... I remember the first little boy came in who was a up-and-coming tennis prodigy, according to his dad, as many parents tend to, label their children as the next Tiger Woods or Roger Federer. And he needed a trainer who would help with the conditioning of his 10-year-old son. And that was my first ever child personal training client. And Craig Harper at the time sort of said, we don't necessarily have a child specialist, but Sam's a bit of a big kid himself. He's probably as well suited as anybody. So I was studying exercise science at the time. I was working as a personal trainer there, and I loved children. So I started to work with this little boy, Daniel, and then another one came, and another one came, and another one came. And before I knew it, I was doing about 80 personal training appointments a week, of which half were children, with parents bringing their kids in at 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, instead of going to maths or PE or whatever it was. And it was as much about confidence building. They weren't elite athletes, all of them. Lots of them had a little bit of weight to lose, or to gain some confidence, or to improve some coordination or motor skills. And so from that, I started Gecko, which was Australia's first ever kids gym in 2007. And 10 years later, so last year, that business got bought by one of our franchisees and continues to run with Kim and her team, which is something I'm really, really proud of. But in that time, I sort of kept my love of personal training adults and worked with lots and lots of families, because I really, really strongly believe that health starts at home. I think the reality, and I obviously realise this in a far greater way in the last 2 years, particularly 6 months, than I ever did before. I always felt like I listened to my clients, I listened to the mums that I trained, and I had a relatively good grasp of the real challenges that they faced at home, and now I really realise I probably didn't. I definitely am understanding it more and more, and so I designed an online program that allows mums predominantly, but people that want to train at home, to get results from the comfort of their lounge room. So it's a different 28-minute workout every day. It's a weekly eating plan with 21 meals that you can cook from home, and it's lots and lots of love, support, education, advice, building a community. And so that program's 2 and a bit years old, and 130,000 people have done the program across Australia. Many of which I know are in this room. Say hello to all of my 28ers. But it keeps coming back to the fact that health starts at home. So I always get asked about, what's the sort of key message? And there's lots of key messages that I think are really important for mums. And I think I should touch on a few of those. The first is, my motto is very much progress, not perfection. I think if you strive for perfection, eventually that's something that's not sustainable. The dam walls are going to break and you're probably going to yo-yo back to zero because it was just too hard. You feel deflated, you feel defeated, you feel like you've failed, and you go back to zero. So I definitely think adopting a progress, not perfection approach is absolutely the way to go. The second key message, I think, is to share, not compare. So I think sharing your progress can be a really empowering and healthy thing, and that can be sharing with your loved ones. That doesn't mean blasting it all over social media necessarily, but sharing it with your loved ones and being proud of your success and proud of your progress, but not comparing yourself to others. That's something that I know people find it hard to believe because I have a very beautiful fiance, but she's one of the people that probably suffers with that the most, from public pressure to feeling, comparing herself to other people and being really hard on herself. So that's something that I work with her in a really close capacity towards, not as a personal trainer, but as her partner. And, it's something that I think is really relevant to so many people, not just women, but people, but particularly mums who are really, really hard on themselves. And then the third one with mums that I find is this attitude or this frustration that if you are giving yourself time or spending time looking after yourself, then you feel a little bit guilty and perhaps you feel like you're being a worse mum because that's time that should be spent looking after your partners or children or anyone else other than you, because you tend to put yourselves not even third but dead last a lot of the time. And what I have found through so many success stories and so many stories that I've heard from the people that I've worked with is it actually makes them a better mum. It makes them have more patience, more energy. The time that they then spend with the people they love the most is of a higher quality. They actually find they're more, more efficient and they have more time than they thought they would, giving themselves, and it doesn't have to be hours, it doesn't have to be hours in the gym or, training for marathons or anything like that, but giving yourself just that little bit of love, that little bit of time, whether it's, going and getting your hair done or doing a workout or going for a walk or whatever it is, starting your own business. It doesn't have to be obviously a physical thing. Absolutely is the best thing that you can do to take better care of those that you love the most rather than worse care. And I hear that all the time from mums that I work with really closely. I mean, out of the thousands of people that do my program, 92% of those people are women, and probably well over half of those are mums. So we're talking about a very big sample size of stories that I hear on a daily basis. It's not just one or two people's sort of their version of events or their experiences. But I mean, they're the key messages that I, in different ways, continue to reinforce to all of the people that I work with on a daily basis. I'm very, very proud of the woodshed that I own, but I totally understand that getting a personal trainer or even getting to the gym on a regular basis is a challenge in itself, either logistically or financially or both. So I'm very much about trying to find something that works for almost everybody. And I know we're sitting here in beautiful Bayside and we're fairly fortunate people, but really doing something that absolutely is accessible and can create success and life change for as many people as possible is kind of my mantra and what I'm all about. And then obviously leading by example and doing that at home is really important to me as well. My mum passed away when I was 15, so I really sort of feel this Mother's Day is going to be a very special day for me with my first own baby, but obviously with Evie as well, and we're going to spoil Sneeze rotten. And I'm just really, really privileged to be here with you today, and after telling you a little bit about what I do and how I believe it should be done, I'm here to answer any of your questions as well.